Welcome to another episode of Bearing It All with Rose and Crystal. Today we are talking about female friendships.
We are. As human beings, I feel like we're so social. We're biologically hardwired into being in relationships, in families, in communities, and especially as females, we really long for that connection. And that's why today we have the beautiful Kristy, the founder of FriendHer, a community and business that runs events in both Queensland and WA for women to make friends.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, girls.
Thanks for coming. We're really excited about today. This is a topic that I think so many people have asked about and have felt that they want to hear because they want to hear that they're not alone in this situation. Female friendships can be hard.
Female friendships are so hard, and I think we struggle with it through our whole entire child and adult life. I don't think it's something that we only come into when we're adults.
Yeah.
I just think it's harder as adults.
I agree. Yeah.
So to get started, we're going to ask you about the story of how FriendHer started and how you've gone over the last 2 years.
We're going to get deep pretty quick, girls.
Yes.
The FriendHer story's deep.
We love deep.
I'm going to go back well before 2 years.
I was gonna say something dirty then.
Well, you should have said it.
Definitely.
I'm here for it.
You like it deep.
We like it deep.
Real deep.
All right. So it goes back well past 2 years ago. So I originally am from Bunbury in Western Australia. Grew up down there. Always knew I didn't want to be a little small town girl. Mum always said I was going to be the only child to leave home, like home, like town, and I was. But before that, I got into a relationship with someone and I found myself pretty quickly in a toxic relationship, but also became a drug addict really quickly. Okay. Ice addict for 3 years, turned my whole family's life upside down, and then found out I was pregnant with the guy who was really abusive, didn't want the baby, got clean when I found out I was pregnant. At just over 3 months, lost the baby, which was a blessing in disguise. Yeah. I always say that baby gave its life up for mine, and it saved mine and my family's life and my relationship with my family.
Oh.
So
it doesn't mean it was easy.
No, it wasn't easy, but yeah, big turning point in my life. Also in a domestic violent relationship, which was really hard. So the result of that was to put my car on a truck and have my parents fly me to Darwin to get away from this relationship. And it was a blessing in disguise. I spent the next 5 years travelling Australia and really gained back who I was.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 23 when I started using and 26 when I got clean.
Okay. And how old are you now?
32. Yeah, so I moved to Darwin where it's really easy to make friends, and I believe that's because it's touristy. There's so many backpackers, so it's just they always say it's really hard to find OGs in Darwin, like originals that are born and bred there. So like the next 5 years travelling between Darwin, a little town named Yamba in New South Wales, and Brisbane, it was so easy to make friends, which was hard when I moved back to Perth, which was really sudden. My nan died and I didn't expect to move home. And then it wasn't going to be long term, but then COVID hit.
Oh, okay. And then you got trapped in WA.
Trapped in WA, which I mean wasn't the worst place to get trapped, but
it's not. But it is like a big isolated country town, I think, 100%. In some ways, isn't it?
And it was traumatic for me. Like when I'd come home to visit, like no one knew I came home. I kept it really secret because of the gentleman that I'd been in a relationship with prior to leaving. I even went by a different name on social media so no one could find me.
So was he trying to find you?
Yeah, so his brother actually lived in Darwin, and I remember one day him sending me a message saying, I'm out the front of your apartment. He knew my address. Had no idea how he knew my address. It was really scary. And I'm really grateful for his sister because I messaged her and I was like, is he in Darwin? she's like, he's on my lounge. Don't worry about it, babe. It's all good.
So were they aware as well of what was going on and what he was like?
So his sister to this day, like we're still talk, and I actually did a podcast last year and spoke only briefly on this and about losing the baby. And she's like, did you know he told me that was all a lie? Like, so they all just assumed that it was all just a lie and coming from an addict and all of that stuff. And she was really sad when she found out the truth.
Yeah.
But I think they know. He's known for it from previous relationships and ones since me. So, yeah. But, yeah, it was really hard. And then moving back, like I've been diagnosed with PTSD since, or when I left WA I was diagnosed with it. And then coming home, having all these triggers and reminders of this person, and then being scared to go home to my family. I didn't have a home. Like I didn't live anywhere. I was doing FIFO.
Yep.
And then staying with my mum. It was just scary. Like the whole thing was really scary. And then no friends.
Yep.
Like I was completely alone.
Did you feel like as well that you were having to face all the things that you left behind but didn't completely deal with before you left?
100%. And I wasn't prepared to face them. Like it was real sudden coming home. And losing my nan was like,
so you're kind of thrown in the deep end. When you got here, you didn't really have a choice. You weren't planning on doing any of that, but you were almost forced into it.
Yeah, I was definitely forced into it, as well as dealing with grief of losing my nan and then facing that. And then, I started like going out when you could, thanks to COVID, and like asking girls for their numbers in the bathroom and all these things. And like they'd
Can I
like,
be your friend?
Literally. And everyone's drunk and happy and friendly and they're like, yeah, you know my number. You send them a message the next day and it's ghosted. And it was constantly ghosted.
Drunk bathroom girls are the best people in the world, but we need to carry that out of the bathroom, I think.
Definitely. So that went on for like 2 years of not having a single friendship and meeting my current partner and having an anxious attachment to him, which I've never been like that in a relationship.
Which probably leads us to our next question. So female friendships. Whoa. I mean, this is huge, and I think all of us can agree, and I think most women we really, really value and really yearn for really good female friends. Like you were saying, you held on to your partner even tighter because you didn't have that. But making friends as an adult, let alone as a female adult, but let's say as an adult, is really hard. It's not like when you're in freaking school and you're like, hey, I'm Rose and I like your hair. And they're like, want to be my best friend? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why a lot of us get attached to our childhood friendships or to our friendships that we make, and then we just stay stagnant in this little group. And even though you grow apart, sometimes in a beautiful way, not in a mean way, you don't know how to make friends outside of that. So how did you overcome it?
I posted on a Facebook group and was like, how the fuck did we make friends as an adult? Like, and then I got bombarded with responses from women feeling the same way. And then like I watched all these girls organise catch-ups with each other and it was really disheartening because most of us, when we're making a post, right, you've gotten to a point that you're pretty broken, you're publicly posting to make friends. And these girls were like organising coffee catch-ups, turning up and being ghosted by women.
Oh my God. I actually did not know this was happening.
I was like, when the fuck did we start ghosting each other? Like, is it not bad enough men do?
I thought that was a relationship thing.
That's Tinder, mate.
Girls are way worse. Like, you follow these pages and you watch girls and you see them organise these meetups and then you see them post back in the group being like, I can't believe I'm so heartbroken. I've just been stood up at this coffee date.
Now, do you think it's sometimes out of fear
So
of both parties?
I 95% of the time believe it's anxiety.
Yeah.
So the whole reason why I started doing paid events with FriendHer was because, one, if you add a monetary value to it, you're more inclined to turn up, right? And secondly, if you're going to an event where you're not relying on any one person to be that person turning up, you got a whole group of women, you don't know if you got stood up. So you remove the anxiety.
That's true. I love that.
That is so true.
Yeah. So that was the whole theory behind monetary valued events.
Such a clever idea. And this all started from a Facebook page.
Facebook post. Just a post on a group. And I was like, this is shit.
I do get FOMO every time I see one of your events. I'm like, oh, bloody hell. Should have bought a ticket to that.
They are fun.
It looks good.
That boat party recently.
They all look like besties. I was like, do these bitches know each other? Like, what's going on?
It's crazy. And like 90% of the attendees come on their own and don't know a single person.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the ones that come with someone they know always regret it because you stick with comfort.
Yeah.
So they don't go outside of their circle. They just hang out with the girl that they came with.
That's how we met at an event.
But that's what we do now. Now I'm like, Rose, come with me, please.
Yeah. So people really struggle to step outside of that comfort zone, which is, I mean, I get it.
But if I wouldn't have gone to that event and you wouldn't have gone to that event, we would have not have met each other. Like,
And then maybe would not be doing this.
That's exactly right. And this is what led to this, 4.5 years ago.
Pivotal moments in your life, ladies.
Exactly. It's exciting.
It is.
222.
Oh, 444. You're on the right path, bitches. That's what 444 is.
We're a bit into angel numbers.
Oh, look, I'm all about it. I see 9/11 every single day for about the last
What is
5
it?
years.
What's 9/11?
It means you need to make a drastic change in your life.
Oh.
Mm.
So you're still making drastic changes.
I feel like I make them every day, but
Baby, I just watched a butterfly hatch out of a cocoon, as my baby girl would say. It's a cocoon. And it is something wild that as an adult I found it amazing, but I feel like that's what we are as females. We are constantly going through metamorphosis.
yeah.
So we are constantly getting back in our cocoon where we need to just have a moment to ourselves and be like, bitch, let me just transform in silence and peace. And then we come out the other side and we're this beautiful butterfly and we're ready to share that with the world and our beauty and our, everything.
You just like resonated with me.
that you're are you in the cocoon right now?
No, I'm out of the fucking cocoon.
I was like, I feel like you're out, babe.
I was
am
in that
seeing you
cocoon.
grow. I love
Yes.
watching it on socials. It's incredible.
I'm just letting my wings dry right now. I came out, but my wings, you know how they got to rest? Okay, so you don't know anything about butterflies, but I now am a butterfly expert. So the butterfly comes out of its cocoon and its wings dry for 2 hours and it's literally dripping, like it's coming out and it's completely still. It's completely like it has to be ready, like it has no choice but to do this. Like predators could come and get it, whatever, but it has to just dry. And you have to give it that time. I am just coming out and my wings are drying. I have no choice but to sit and let them dry because I can't do anything until it happens.
Oh, I love this though.
So what are you? Are you there? Where are you? Are
I'm
you
in
the
my
caterpillar?
cocoon.
You're in the
yeah,
cocoon.
I'm in the cocoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch this space. Some big things coming for my
The
future.
cocoon is actually truly beautiful, to be honest. It's actually green with gold.
It's maybe where some of the big things are like brewing.
Oh,
inside.
100%.
And where you have to go so inward.
Yeah.
So take that time for yourself. And I love that you've been raw and vulnerable with us. That said as well, you were saying that you put this post on social media and so we are more connected than ever before, apparently. With social media, with our phones, we apparently have all these channels of communication, all this access to millions of people, to other people, yet people are so disconnected more than ever. And especially women. I know from my own platform, and I think Crystal can agree with me here, that so many women have reached out and say, I don't have that village. I don't have a community. I'm intensely lonely. And am I the only one without friends? Like some people are like, I don't even have a best friend and I'm embarrassed. And I'm embarrassed that I don't know who my close friends are. Or like we were saying before, is sometimes you've had a group of friends and you've kind of outgrown them. You still love them. There will still always be love, but they're not in the same stage of life as you are at the time. Like, how do you feel about this? Have you ever gone down the rabbit hole yourself of being in there, I'm so connected, I talk to this person on socials and this person, but you're not connected at all?
So I have this really big view on this, and we could talk about this for days, but I think that we are more connected than we've ever been digitally.
Yep.
But in person, we are more disconnected than we've ever been in our whole entire life. I don't know how many times you've gone to a restaurant and watched people sitting there and they're on their phones.
Across from each other.
Yep.
And I'm like, put your fucking phone down.
Yeah.
It actually makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's this study out around we suffer more anxiety now than we ever have in our life. And the reason why is because the brain doesn't understand words, but the brain understands environments and actions. So when we put ourselves in a room where we got a phone, you're not around people, you're around your phone. So although you're talking to people, you're not actually around people. So then when you go around people, your body's like, this isn't fucking normal. Like, I'm really anxious. Get me out of here. You're used to being in a room with a phone. So
and it feels safe.
It feels safe. And so they say that the way we get over social anxiety is to push ourselves outside our boundaries and be around people.
Yep.
And that's how your brain starts to understand that language, because it doesn't understand words. You can tell yourself, I'm not anxious. I'm not anxious. You're not doing yourself any fucking good.
Yeah.
You're probably making yourself more anxious.
That's true. The more you try to tell yourself you're not anxious, the more you're like.
I've just realised I've gone to events before and not known people, and I've gone in with my phone ready, because if no one makes any contact with me, I'm going to go to my phone.
I'll pretend that you're like,
Pretend I'm so
friends.
busy.
I know, someone's messaged me.
Because then I don't look like I'm feeling anxious.
I love,
But you think about when we were growing up, we didn't have phones.
That's right.
You had to talk to people.
How about sitting on the train?
People put in their ear, ear things and their phone.
One day I forgot my phone when I was sitting on the train, and I felt super uncomfortable. I had to sit there and watch the world. And I had to just sit in my own space, because I didn't have a book because it was on my phone, and I didn't get to text someone, and I didn't get to scroll mindlessly through social media. And I had to just be like, but you know what? It was kind of relaxing.
And so we were talking earlier before we started the show around how we're all feeling really overwhelmed at the moment.
Yeah.
We all have businesses that rely on social media, right?
Exactly.
But you think about, we're just constantly on our phone, and you're not actually like spending quality time with yourself or with the people that you care about, because you're spending so much of that time on your phone doing things that are actually like, you're going to go to your deathbed one day and not remember that.
Yeah.
But I get really frustrated on this subject, because we are closed Sunday, Monday, right? Without fail, yesterday I was receiving phone calls till 8 o'clock at night. And it's like, people don't get that you need to switch off from your business. Like, it is closed for a reason.
100%.
And it's like, this one person yesterday called 3 times until I answered, and I had to say, I'm sorry, but we are actually closed today.
That's right.
Respecting boundaries.
Yeah. And that's also important in friendships. And I think that's a really good point that you're making. They rung and rung and rung because you should be attached to your phone now. Yep. And that's a comfort thing for them, for everyone, I think, as well. I'm guilty of it too. But also, that's not respecting boundaries, and that's important in friendships as well.
Yeah.
So how does someone that is feeling like this at the moment overcome this? How do they put themselves out there? And to be honest with you, what's actually even normal? People, I think sometimes they see friendships and they romanticize them. Mm-hmm. Something that's off the movies, like Sex in the City. Shit like that.
Look, I think Sex and the City is a great way of looking at friendships, right? Because they're pretty open and honest with each other, and they're themselves. They don't judge each other. You've got one who's loves going out and having sex. You've got one who wants to get married and have a family. Like, they're great. So you do see the good and the bad in the friendships. I think people that sit at home and romanticize these things need to understand that they're going to be loved by someone, but you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So expect to go out there. It's the same as dating, right? You're going to go out there and you're going to find someone that you don't like, or you're going to find someone you do like. It's exactly the same in friendships.
We have this conversation all the time.
Yeah.
Especially with her. I'm like, you're not always going to be loved by somebody. Same with me. Like, somebody's going to hate me and someone's going to love me. And
I always say to people, back to what you were saying before about what can people do?
Yes.
I'm not saying you need to come to a FriendHer event, but I'm saying go to an event, right? Come to a FriendHer event. You're all welcome. We would love to have you. But put yourself out of your comfort zone. And I always put it in an email before the event, like things like what I'm going to wear. So, because we all overthink that, right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck. And you don't want to have more anxiety than you need. But the other thing I say to people is, you know what you think people are thinking of you, what's making you anxious? Do you think that about them? Like,
That's
oh my
true.
God, Rose must think I'm fucking like this evil bitch. Have you ever thought that about someone? Like,
That's true. That's what I say about bodies on the beach.
Yeah.
I was like, we see these people in their bikinis, in their thongs and all of that. And all I've ever thought is, heck, I'd love to have the confidence to wear that. Gee, she looks hot.
Yeah.
And all they're thinking is, oh my God, my thighs, my cellulite, my this, my that. And I'm
Yes.
sitting on the beach judging myself, not her, judging myself. Because we are kind of self-absorbed like that.
We are.
So I think exactly what you're saying. Like, everybody is thinking about themselves
Yeah.
and not necessarily judging others.
And the other thing of that is, if you do have a bad experience, just remember that it's a reflection of that person and not of you. And that's them trying to do their own healing. Like, you're going to have those experiences in life.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think, like, especially what we've been hearing is we can't keep comparing ourselves. That's another thing with social media and our phones. I think it's so easy to get online. And I said it today in a story. I just said 90% of what you see. I don't know if those stats are correct. I just said 90% of what you see online isn't even real.
Yeah.
You're seeing 15 seconds of that person's life, 15 seconds of what they choose to share with you. So, you know, a lot of the times we're saying, oh, she's at an event, she's wearing a beautiful outfit, or she's with her friends all the time. That is a snippet. It is not
Honestly,
the whole story.
Me putting up that post recently around me recently being diagnosed with depression, do you know people in the world had no idea? Because, of course, they're seeing what they're seeing on social media. And I'm telling you now, my life is not what you're seeing on social media. I do use my platform for good in places that I can, hence speaking up about my depression. But I'm telling you now, that is not my life.
I love that you've said that, because I think that's why it's really important with the friendship situation is that we don't compare ourselves and we don't think, oh my God, I'm the only one that doesn't have friends, or I'm the only one that doesn't have like a community or a village. I think so many people are in that same boat.
Yeah.
And as adults with families and relationships and a husband, it's hard. Like, friendships are quite different than when we were teenagers.
They 100% are. And I think they need to be. So we talk around friendships that you hang on to, right? We might have met a boy right when we were 16, 17, 18 in your 20s, and you aren't with that boy anymore because you outgrow each other, because you start to have different paths in life, different goals. It's the same with friendships. And after travelling Australia for 5 years, I think WA is probably the worst at doing it, because we don't leave as much, like we don't travel as much. We're quite often stuck here. Most people start families quite young, or I don't know what it is about Perth. I don't know if it's the mining life as well that brings, like, people move here. So then these women, you know, they settle here with their partners rather than ever getting up and leaving and travelling. Whereas all the other states or territories travel so much more, and it's easier. Like, it's expensive to travel out of WA.
It is. I don't think people realise.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I just don't think we have as much tourism. We don't travel as much. So people just really get stuck here, and they hang on to their high school friendships.
Look, recently, I did touch base with you recently on this. So I had a friend for 19 years.
Yeah.
And after my dad's death, I realised how toxic that relationship was for me. And if my dad had not passed away, I would probably still be friends with this person.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realise things that she were doing prior, but definitely after, I was like, wow, no, I can't have this anymore.
And so many people don't know how to be okay with letting go of some friendships. Mm-hmm. So I say it to people all the time. I'm like, it doesn't have to be done in a nasty way, but you can distance yourself from people that are no longer your people.
Yeah.
You do it in a relationship.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do it with your friends?
I definitely was not mean to her. I just exactly explained why.
Yeah.
I think she's still having a really hard time coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
And that's okay as well.
It's grief though. Like, we grieve friendships like we grieve relationships, like romantic relationships, or even death.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you get so many girls that come to our events that really are struggling with that. Or they're doing what you've done, and they're like, okay, I've had to remove myself. And they've removed themselves from one friend, but that means removing themselves from a whole circle of friends that they maybe weren't willing to lose, but that was
what came part of
the price. Yeah.
I feel like we talked about this again before we started as well. Like, I think as a female, losing a friend or a good friend or someone like that's been in your life for so many years, it genuinely feels as bad as a breakup, an actual like, you know, loving romantic breakup. It feels so awful. And also I can completely relate with how hard it can be to let go of friendships, because I even know, and I'll be completely honest here, I've got people in my life that I'm still friends with because of history, and not because it works anymore.
Yeah.
I find that really hard to say, but I have to be honest that is because I'm still trying to overcome being a bit of a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I like being liked.
I think everyone likes being liked,
We
though,
all
babe.
do.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think all humans are people pleasers, right? I think just there's a
Yeah.
different level of it. And I think as you get older and the more you experience, the easier it becomes to set boundaries for yourself. So like I'm currently
going
going
to tolerate.
Yeah, like I'm currently going through it now where friends that I've made in the last 2 years, like I have a whole community of women, right? And everyone's like, she must have so many friends. And I'm like, I went through something really drastic at the beginning of this year and it really wrecked me. And the people that I thought were going to be there for me completely turned their back on me.
Yep.
And that's been something, it was a blessing in disguise because it reminded me to put boundaries in place with other friendships. And since then, I've now got like a couple of really beautiful friends and there's no, what's the word? There's no like expectation of constantly like, one, I don't have time to message you every day. Stop asking me to message you every day. One,
I'm a messenger.
but like understand if they're not. Understand if they're not reaching out to you. Like one, they're probably busy, or two, maybe to see if they're okay. Because like I sure as hell haven't been okay this year. And up until I spoke up and said on a public forum that I was depressed, no one fucking knew. Like it's mind blowing the amount of pressure that we put on each other as friends instead of understanding that our lives are busy. There's no, like we still love each other. Like just be fucking kind and stop being.
But the messed up thing is that
Mamma Maria.
that sometimes you have to go through something super traumatic to realize
Yep.
that those friendships are not for you anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
but I was like, I'm doing actions because I'm like got Italian in me, so I have to speak my words. I was like, sorry guys. I was like, yes. I was basically saying yes. I totally agree, Crystal.
But it's weird because I feel like my friendship with you got stronger after Dad's death. Like I knew you before Dad's death. You knew
Yep.
Dad. Afterwards, I was like, she actually gets me.
It can bring out the best as well.
Yeah, I shared a thing on my story just before actually. It was like 6 things I've learned about making friends as an adult.
Ooh, I like it.
And I can't really remember exactly what it said, but there was like the points in it were something like the friendships you make in your 30s will be more meaningful than the friendships you made in your childhood.
That's true.
It is.
And then they go on about the reasons why. And I was like, they're fucking true. Like they're really true. And I think it's more because when we're in our 30s, we know who we are, right? Or we've at least figured out most of our shit. You know what you're willing to tolerate and you know what you're looking for in a friendship. I say that we should understand our friends' love language just as much as we should learn our partner's love language.
We are big on love language. We were talking about this a lot when we're in the salon as well, that yours is words of affirmation, Crystal.
Yeah.
And gift giving.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, gift giving, but it's 'cause it's the way she likes to give a gift. Like her thought for that person is massive.
Yeah.
And so then when we went to give her a present for her birthday, we're like, she has everything. Can we just like, she wants it, she's gone and bought it herself. She is a professional shopaholic. That's just the way it is. But I was like, we need to get her a gift because even though she's got everything, it's going to be important that we've made that effort to go and get her something and really think outside of the box.
Yeah.
And we hope you felt that.
I did.
But it is.
Oh, I want to know what you got.
I got Louis Vuitton earrings.
Oh, I
and do you
did
know
see
what?
this.
I would never buy myself expensive earrings because I lose shit.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate shit I buy for myself. But I'm like, these are in my safe at home.
Oh, I love this.
I'm like, They're so important to me.
Oh, I suppose it's got such a special meaning to you.
Yeah, and I'm like, when I'm wearing them, I'm like, checking that they're both there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
because
love
if it's
that.
yourself. How about you? What's your love language?
So mine's acts of service, to receive acts of service, and then words of affirmation. And yeah, like acts of service for me is, I think, new though. Like I don't think it used to be that way, but since like working full time, running FriendHer, being a partner, having step kids, like I don't have a lot of time.
I think love languages change over your life as well. So,
definitely.
and that's totally normal as well. So you sort of got to keep, as we evolve,
Yeah.
as we evolve, we learn that our love language, mine I think has always been acts of service, and it's also words of affirmation.
Wow.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew it was acts of service always because I feel that I like to do it for other people. So I love when someone does something for me.
Yeah.
Even if it's something as choosing a really cool card that says something goofy that would suit me. But words of affirmation, I think it was Crystal that made me think about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why words of affirmation? I was like, actually, I think I need it.
Yeah.
My inner child needs it.
I feel like you sometimes need like reassurance.
Yes, because
Like
I've never
that's-
had it.
That's big. Like I feel like you know what you're doing all the time, and I just need to just reassure you you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, my anxiety can definitely get the best of me, and I question myself, and I have this big imposter syndrome. I'm working on it, but she's still there, and sometimes she gets heavy.
Yeah.
And I think as a kid, they always looked at me like, oh, Roseanne's fine, she's fine. She's always happy, she's fine. And so I never received it,
Yeah.
and I never knew that I needed it.
I love this about you too, because talking about like friendships you've made, you two are like literally great friends. Like you can just see it, like the fact that you know each other's love language. I say to girls all the time, what's your friend's love language? They're like, what the fuck's that? What do you mean? Go and do the test. I'm like, get online, do the test. Talk to your friend about
do it for yourself.
Yeah.
So not only for your partner, stuff for your partner.
Yes.
You love him
Yep.
anyway, or her, whoever that is. But do it for yourself. How do you like to give love is often what your love language is. Yeah. So, yeah.
So we had a little bit of a we want to know, what are your red flags for friendship and what are your green flags?
So red flags for a friendship, I believe, are someone who talks badly about another friend and names them. So I think you're allowed to vent about friendships, but you shouldn't make it obvious who you're venting about, because we're allowed to vent, right? You got to vent. But I think when you name someone, your intention is no longer to vent. Your intention is to drag them down.
Yes.
Yeah. And shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's my biggest red flag. I actually experienced it last year between two girls that I was like kind of just starting to meet. They knew each other. One told me that she'd had a falling out with someone and that she was struggling with it, and she didn't want it to affect my birthday, so she wasn't going to come anymore. The other one told me the same thing but named the person and then made a huge deal about it and then told me I couldn't be friends with her.
Oh,
And
red
I was
flag.
like,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a big red flag.
yeah. And then heaps of other stuff happened from that, but I knew at that moment, like, oh, she's a red flag and I'm just getting to know this girl. Not really sure she's someone I want in my life. So
What's your red flag, Rose?
Oh, we talked about this before. My red flag is a friend that they want you to do well and they're happy for you as long as you're not doing better than them.
yeah.
And it's really hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. Like, as long as you're equal, we're all cool. Soon as they think, and I mean, and I'm really mean that, as soon as they think or perceive that you may, in their own mind, be doing better than you, then it's radio silence.
Yeah.
Or the people that are last to congratulate you when they know that you would be so damn proud of yourself. The last person you hear of. And that's been something that I've experienced and something that it's a wake up call. You need to look at that and go, you don't need it every day. You don't need someone going, well done, girl. You tied your shoes. You look great. You don't need that. It's the important things.
Yeah.
It's those real life-changing moments that, you know, you expect a friend to go, oh my God, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
You had a business milestone. I'm proud to hear that, or a congratulations, or on those big life moments.
Yeah,
it doesn't
100%.
have to be every day, but I think that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You actually shared something like, I think it was recently, and
Yeah.
I was commenting on it. It was like your biggest supporters are like sometimes your Instagram circle and not the people that you are in your family or friends.
Yeah.
Like I resonate with that because I'm like, there's no point trying to sell hair extensions to your family because they're never going to buy from
Nah.
you.
Yeah.
But yeah, your Instagram support is way bigger sometimes.
Well, I mean, look at my relationship with you. It's like up until, I mean, the Max Marketing Christmas party, our relationship was just social media based and
That's true.
supporting each other. Like, fuck yeah, you're doing great. Commenting on your stories, like commenting on your posts, like cheering you on for starting Haley Hair. Like
Yeah.
just apps. And I didn't know you from Bar of Soap.
No, but after that Christmas party
Yeah.
where you almost fell backwards through a table. That was a fun
and
night.
all
and,
of the tequila shots.
It
I
was
had to
all
chase
on
Rose
tequila.
around the whole night.
Tequila Rose was out.
I was like, Rose, where the F is your handbag again?
I don't know.
Wait, I won a dance comp, but I did not know how. My dance moves are shit.
Are they though? Are they?
I think I won because I got everyone on the dance floor. That's why.
exactly right. And that's,
Wait, was there a dance comp?
Yeah, I won a $100 crown voucher for that shit.
What? How did I miss out on
I
this?
would have slayed you. Where was I?
Oh, you were too busy doing your air guitar.
I think I was like dancing with you. It was just because I was like, get on the dance floor, everybody.
And that's another thing we love you. That's why FriendHer has such a beautiful community.
Yeah.
Also, can you give us you're in Queensland as well.
I'm in Queensland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just for anyone listening out there, it's in WA and Queensland at the moment. I believe. Who knows where
Watch
she's
this
gone.
space. There's some big things coming in March.
Is
very, very big.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Any secrets?
Think of the other gender.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did read that today, literally. I was reading a book by Maggie Dent. Can you tell my age? Love you, Maggie. Would love you on the show one day. We would love that. But she was saying, because I was reading, I've got a book, what is it, Girlhood. Mm-hmm. I've obviously a mum of 4 girls. And they were saying that it's hard for women to make friends, but it's actually really hard for males.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah. 100%. Because I mean, there's that big talk around like it's weak to speak, and it's usually men that are struggling with it, right? More than anything. So there's not really a lot of communities out there for men. And it's something I get a lot of feedback from people. I get lots of messages about it. Girls being like, my partner needs something like this, you know. Yeah. And there's incredible communities out there now. Like you've got Chili Willies, you've got Mingle, but they're all more based around doing like your healing stuff.
Yep.
And there's guys that are like, well, I want to go and do fun stuff too. Like, look at your boat parties. I want to go to a boat party.
Yeah, I just want to play golf. I want a golf buddy.
So this was like the big thing around I've been wanting to do it for a while, but navigating how to do it for men, right? Because they're different. They're wired differently. Alcohol can create different emotions in men than women. So I was trying to navigate what I can do. I'm going to do golf days. I'm going to do poker nights.
That
all
is
these
so much
things.
fun. And
Yeah.
do you know, my uncle, he lives in Katanning
Yeah.
and they have a men's shed
Yeah.
and they go and do woodwork and all
Yeah.
sorts. And anyways, one day I was just having like a mental breakdown over dad and I give this uncle a call and he's like, call me 3 a.m. I'll answer the phone. I was saying how like I would love to do something for men.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to do this, man, I'll help.
Yes.
Because that is so important to me after losing dad.
Yeah, I
Like
can imagine.
I know he had friends, but it's still like opening up those conversations
Yeah.
with a group of men and being like, it's okay to chat about your feelings.
Yeah.
Like doesn't make you womanly.
Yeah.
And
And
but
it's
even
also
doing something.
Yeah.
With them.
And it's also okay to, again, cut off ties with friends that aren't giving you what you need. And men struggle with that more than women do because they're so stuck in their ways from their high school friendships. And then they don't talk like we do. They probably don't have emotional breakdowns like we do, like to their friends. And they probably don't know how to cut ties because it's hard. Like I genuinely think it would be harder for men than it is for women to connect.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. It's not a secret anymore.
Watch this space.
Watch this
Yeah.
space. I love that you're so open about it. Now, you were also really open with your own mental health struggles.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm finding it hard to say that now. Earlier this year and in your past, and you've been recently diagnosed with depression.
Yeah.
Why? How long did it take you to actually seek help? And
I've probably known for 12 months something wasn't fine. And then it took to the point where I was running one day and was looking for a piece of rope. And that was like the moment where I was like, I've got to make change. And it was hard. It was really hard. Like, I've lost so many people to suicide, to be in that headspace and to not like know how to get myself out of it. Like, it was really hard. And to be honest, I don't feel any better at the moment.
I was just going to say, how are you really doing now?
I'm probably right now, I'm at the worst place I've ever been in my life. Worse than when I was a drug addict. And that's like hard, really hard.
That's like super hard for me to hear. But also I applaud you because coming on a podcast when you're not in a good place, that's also hard.
I don't know if anyone can see it like this.
I was started doing I just need to give you a hug.
But you having this conversation right now
So
and us going to air it is actually going to help somebody that's in the same boat.
Yeah, so
I'm just shaking now myself.
me too. So I'm really big on and it probably falls back to me when I was an addict. Like, there was no support for my family because no one spoke about it. It was like a big taboo. So from the moment of me getting clean, I was like, I'm going to change that. Like, I'm going to speak up about my struggles, because if I can give one family hope or one addict hope that it does get better, like, to be who I was then, to be who I am now, to see what I've done with my life, like, I'm fucking proud of that. And to now be struggling.
Should be.
I'm proud to hear your story, to witness it.
Oh, thanks, girls. But yeah, and then so I always knew I wanted to use my platform with FriendHer for good, right? Like, I work full time. I don't make any profit from FriendHer, and I always knew that, hence the relationship with Worthy Australia and Beyond DV, and donating our profits to them. It's really close to me. So then when I probably admitted that I was depressed, I was so alone in that, and I don't know why I thought being vulnerable would be the worst thing in the world for me to do, because the moment I spoke up, like, I got surrounded by love. And FriendHer started because I was vulnerable and fucking spoke up. So I'm now determined that, and I know this and I've always said it, that I'm going to continue to use my platform for good, even if it means talking about things that are hard for me to talk about.
This is exactly why we started Bearing It All.
Yeah.
And I love that you shared that, and it's actually really hard for me to hear, but I think we actually need to stop shielding ourselves from things that are hard to hear.
Yeah.
I think as well, because me and Crystal were on the phone for like a quick chat 25 minutes later, and we were talking about things that are hard for men, for us as women, and the fact that we hide it from people. The more we hide things from people, the more we make it taboo.
Yeah.
And these are things that people go through within their life.
Yeah, and the thing is, to think that you're the only one going through it, and to think that you're alone, like, that's really scary place to be. And I think if more people spoke up about it, the less alone we would feel in it. We'd feel less isolated.
Yep.
I recently did like, we do women's circles sometimes, and Grace from Essence, Grace and Yoga, who helped run it, she was talking about this whole village. You know how we used to have villages?
Yep.
We used to do ceremonial circles. We don't do them anymore, right? And we've started bringing them back into our lives. But women, that's a place for women to share. It's a place for men to share in men's circles as well. And I always say to girls when they come, they never expect themselves to cry. They don't know what they're going to get. They haven't been to one before. And I'm like, this is what it used to be like before we hid behind technology, before we got too scared to speak, before women, because, you know, we used to not have to work full time. Most of them stayed at home. So they still didn't speak, but they just did it from home. Now we are expected to be a worker, a mum, a friend, a daughter, you know, all of these things, and then expected to be tough as fuck through it all.
Yep.
The expectations.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right. Like, I think actually my dad said this to me, and I was really shocked because I come from a Italian background, and he said, you know, back when your mum and my mum were growing up, it was easier. And I was like, what? I was like, Dad's giving me credit. He's like, you women work, raise a family, have maybe a business, you're expected to look good, you're working out, you know, you're pleasuring, you know, yourself and your husband, but you feel like those pressures of doing it all because we are often presented that now, it's not just a housewife thing. We have to have a career. We have to have everything.
Yeah.
And I've said this a million times. You can have it all, just not necessarily all at once.
Yeah, I agree.
And coming back to the butterfly, which I don't know why.
Cocoon.
The cocoon. I feel like it's perfect for today.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe because, you know, at the moment you are 100% in your cocoon and you need to be in there, but that cocoon is vulnerable.
It's vulnerable, and I'm
in the
learning a
wind.
lot in it. I'm learning a lot about who I am, what I'm willing to accept from people, and who my real friends are.
You need to go inwards and take that time. And I'm using it as that metaphor, but like that cocoon is sitting in the wind, just trusting that it is going to be okay hanging from this leaf while it is going through that transformation.
But you know what too? While you're in that cocoon,
The cocoon.
don't let it be dark. Like let the light in too.
Yes,
That's like really important for me because yes, you might be feeling those like super dark times, but also like let the light of love
and trust.
surround you. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
have
I
to
think
trust.
is a big thing. And I think at the moment, I feel like the only person I can trust is myself, which is hard, right? Really hard. And when I say that, I can trust my mom, I can trust my family, I know I can, but like within my current like really immediate circle that I see regularly, like my family live down south, there are things that I haven't told anyone, absolutely no one. And I've spoke to a girlfriend about something the other day and she went, how long has this been going on for?
Yep.
Like, why haven't you spoken to me about it? And I was like, because do you know what? I was like, I don't know who I can trust to keep it to themselves or to not use it against me.
Yeah. And that's another thing with friendships as well. I think sometimes it's hard, but if you don't let the light in, like Crystal was saying, and you have to put your heart on the line.
Yeah.
And you do have to trust.
Yeah.
As much as you might have been hurt in the past, if you don't allow yourself to try again and trust, then that's all a part of healing too.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely I feel you on that. I definitely have come a long way myself in trusting people, but I'm still working on it because I always feel like I'm going to get let down.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with trusting yourself because realistically, sometimes we don't know that we've never trusted ourselves and we've never trusted our own voice.
Yeah.
So that's important. But actually allowing others in again and trusting them too is huge.
Yeah, it felt pretty powerful on the weekend talking to my friend.
Yeah.
I touched base on this last week about like your intuition. You know, when like your intuition is actually screaming at you, but you're not listening.
Yeah.
I said this to Rose. I was like, my intuition is just telling me this thing and I'm not like, do I listen to it? But it's like screaming at me.
And what did I tell you? I was like, every time you haven't trusted your gut, it bites you in the ass.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
I find like your mind and the back of your mind, you always know. You've always known the answer, but you're too scared to ask yourself the question.
Or you're people pleasing.
Yeah, because it feels nice to be liked, guys.
It does, and it feels bad to hurt other people.
Yeah, because we're human.
Yeah.
At our core, we actually want to be liked. There's nothing wrong with that, like you said.
Yeah. Just got to remember to do it in a healthy way that doesn't impact us.
That's true. Let's talk about green flags for friendships.
Green flags are people you can tell your shit to and they're going to love you no matter what.
Yes.
100%. Like, and I'm talking not just your shit, but things that maybe they don't agree with in your life. Like if you can tell a friend something and they 100% don't like it, but they still love you and support you, that is a good friend.
That's Rose for me.
Oh, I feel the same about you.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree, but we also that doesn't make or break our friendship. That shouldn't make or break your friendship.
I also think if you don't feel like you can have a difficult conversation with a friend, they're not a friend.
Yeah.
And my green flag is that you do this all the time with me. She will know something's wrong with me without me even having to open my mouth.
I love that.
Like if you can read your friend like that, she'll be like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
So you're off. And I'm like,
oh. My girlfriend Lacey, I'm going to give her a shout out because she's fucking amazing and I love her. And she has Social Mums, which is another community for women. She sent me a message last week. So she's not even in my energy. And she sent me a message and I was really struggling that day. And she just sent me a message saying, I don't know why I feel like I need to send you this message, but I love you in a non-lesbian way. And I was like, thanks for making it light. But she had no idea, like that simple message at that time was like exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
Followed her gut.
Yep, 100%.
That was her intuition.
Yeah. And she is a fucking amazing friend. Really grateful for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good friend.
Yeah, it's a great friend.
When they can read you and they're not even in the room with you.
She's like 40 minutes north of me. She's picking my energy from somewhere.
That's telepathic.
Yeah. She's listening to her gut.
She's
good girl.
Yeah.
Oh, my green flag. It's honestly, just been trying like to actually be able to be vulnerable with someone and not feel like you're judged, and not when you're having a hard day and you go, how are you? And you can actually say, I'm actually not doing that good.
Yeah.
And they proceed to listen. Tell me about that day.
Yeah.
You do this with me. It's important. I often, being a little bit more extroverted or appearing to be more extroverted in life, it often is, how are you? And they expect me to say I'm fine.
Yeah.
And so many times I have not been fine and I've said, yeah, I'm fine. But again, like you were saying as well, being able to read your friend and saying, no, I call bullshit.
Yeah.
Tell me what's happening in your life, and maybe digging a little deeper.
Yeah.
And asking those questions and just being there to listen. You do not have to give advice. You don't have to do anything sometimes.
You don't even need to know the answers.
No, you can just go, let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
Just clear your head.
So if you were to ask me what my second red flag was, it would be a friend who doesn't ask you back how you are.
Ooh. Or they just talk about themselves the whole conversation.
Or if you just say, yeah, I'm okay. And they're like, oh, yeah, cool.
Back to me.
We spoke about this last week.
Okay is not good.
And back to me.
Yeah. Like, cool, awesome. I'm not okay, but hey, you didn't read that.
Yeah.
Like,
Or they didn't want to. So, or when the conversation flips. So it's like, oh, we're hearing about you, or you're doing really badly, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, me too. That happened to me, and listen to my story.
Yeah.
And of course, their stories are valid as well.
Yeah.
But
pick your timing.
yes, let's have that conversation. Let's just wait, hear your friend out.
Yeah.
And then,
Unless you have to shake it out of her, because I feel like last week you were like super overwhelmed. I was like, Rose, what's going on? You're like, nothing. I just got a lot on. What do you have on? Nothing much, just work. But what?
yeah.
I was like, is it this thing that you're working on? No. Is it that thing you're working on? No. I was like, Rose, what's going on?
You're like, come on, just
I'm like, let me in.
yeah, and I think though that's my point, is the fact that she was trying.
Yeah.
And that is an act of service to me.
100%.
And I felt loved because she wasn't like, you're like, come on, man, like something is causing you to feel
I was
really
getting frustrated.
anxious.
I was like, Rose.
She wanted to slap me. But and also I think sometimes I don't know what it is until you start breaking it down.
Yeah, 100%.
So it is so damn important. I think we're going to wrap it up because I think we could absolutely talk to you all day and we'll probably have you back because this has like just been the best conversation and we've learnt so much about you and so much about, you know, how normal it is to have, you know, different kinds of friendship, to know that you're not alone if you don't have this massive village and that you can do something about it. Yeah. But Crystal's going to throw some wild questions at you just to lift the mood and lighten stuff up.
My question is, if we got invaded, if Earth got invaded by aliens, what would be your talent that you would show them so that they know that you're worth keeping? It's a bit of a tricky one.
We've turned a corner here.
It's been my dance moves. Come on. I got everyone on the dance floor.
She's going to show them how to floss.
She's going to show them that this is the community worth keeping. She's like, I can be a leader in this.
It's coming, guys. We might get invaded one day.
Now I want to know yours.
What's my secret talent?
Yeah.
I
I like spinning this back around.
Man,
yeah, frig. I wasn't ready for that. I'm going to just say being a dickhead. Like, I love making people laugh.
Yeah.
So I'll just try and make them laugh somehow. Yeah, I think yours is that too.
Actually, like I feel put on the spot now. Aliens, what would I, you know, I'd obviously, I would feed them. I'm the feeder. I would be like, Mama Maria. That's my chin hair. But like Mama Rosa, I just love entertaining and making people feel like included, and I feel like that over food and drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, it doesn't bother me. I feel like you can get together and the community.
Unless aliens eat our brains, then you're...
No, then I'd be like, we got to find a solution. Can
you just change their diet, convince them that our brains are unhealthy.
I'd be like, vegan life.
Pasta.
Pastina. Have you tried my mama's pastina and the gnocchi?
Look, I'd pick you. I'd definitely pick you. No, I'm not saying I wouldn't pick you. I'm saying like
she's
food.
like,
I'm going to get my brain eaten.
I mean, I'm like food. I'm all about
I
food.
think we
Especially
need food,
pasta.
entertainment, and we need
Friendship.
dancing and community. I think actually that is everything you need in your life, in the world.
Yeah.
And kindness.
So where can people find you?
Ooh, best place is definitely Instagram.
Yeah.
It's probably the easiest because we keep it updated mostly. So at FriendHer _. Really wish there was no underscore, but anyway, it was taken.
We all got an underscore, don't you worry.
I got an underscore.
We will put everything in the show notes as well so that you can find Kristy and you can find FriendHer. So we want to thank you so much for taking the time today to come and chat with us, to chat with everybody, and you honestly did bear it all. So we want to take this time to thank you and to remind everybody to take care of yourself.
And take care of each other.
Well, thanks, girls. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Bye.